All right, we are now in the second part of our discussion. And for the second part, we are going to focus on solving linear equations. Okay, now previously in our first discussion, you have seen that linear equations could come in two forms. We have the slope-intercept form and we have the general form. So in solving linear equations, you may encounter either the two of them. Also, in that particular lesson, you found out that to solve word problems, you need to have a skill in solving linear equations. Because, for example, if the unknown is the y, for instance, you need to substitute and to solve for the x, or to solve for the y given the x. And if the unknown is the x, you have to solve for it given the y, and by substituting it as well. In other words, for you to be successful in this, you need to have a skill in solving linear equations. And that is what we are going to focus for this particular discussion. So let's start with these two linear equations. Let's start with the first one. So before we start, just put in mind that if you are to solve for any equations, you need to find the value of the variable towards the end. What is that variable equal to? In this case is x. Now to do that, number one, you need to isolate the x, meaning it should be left alone by itself on one side of the equation. Hence, the other terms and the coefficient should all be eliminated. So in this case, to solve for the x, first we need to eliminate the 8. Okay? And to eliminate the 8, we need to transfer this to the other side. Now take note, this strategy of transferring can only be applicable to terms, not to coefficients. So terms in an equation or in an expression are separated by plus or minus. Alright? So in this case, we have a plus 8. This is a second term or another term. Transfer this to the other side. Hence, you get 5x equal to 18 minus 8. And so, simplifying it becomes 5x equal to 10. Now, to further find the value of x, we are having a coefficient of 5. Take note here, this is 5 times x. Thus, this is not a term. So we cannot transfer this to the other side the way we did with the 8. Now, to solve for the x, to eliminate the 5, we have to do an inverse operation. So since we are multiplying 5 with x, to eliminate the 5 to make it equal to 1, we need to divide both sides by 5. Thus, we get x equal to 10 over 5. So 5 over 5 is simply 1. That makes it 1x or simply x. And the other side becomes 10 over 5. Thus, x is equal to 2. So we can do the same process on the right side. Transfer 17, the first term, to the other side, thus you get negative 2x equal to negative 1 minus 17. Simplify further, and this time, in order to eliminate the negative 2, since this is negative 2 times x, divide both sides by negative 2. Thus, you will get x, because negative 2 over negative 2 is simply 1x, or x, equal to negative 18 over negative 2. And thus, x is equal to 9. But there is another smart way of solving the second one. So to solve for the second one, if you wish not to encounter negatives later on when you divide, when you try to solve further for the x, because here we are encountering negatives, you can actually plan ahead and make this positive. So how do we make this positive? Instead of transferring 17 to the other side, we could actually transfer negative 2 to the other side so that this becomes positive 2x, now making it positive 2x. Alright? And when you do transfer this to the other side, it will be accompanied by minus 1 or negative 1. So to further isolate 8, we can also transfer negative 1 to the other side ahead of time. Okay, because we wanted 2x to be alone on the right side. So negative 1 should be transferred to the left side. Thus we get 17 and negative 1 becomes plus 1 equal to 2x. Simplifying further, we now have 18 equal to 2x, and this will just give you an x equal to 9. Alright? Now, for this new two sets of examples, I'd like you to pause this video and answer the first one on your own first. And after you do that, then you look at the answer. Pause the video now. Okay? So compare your answers with my answer. Therefore, x is equal to 3. Please do the same thing in the second item. Pause the video. All right, compare your answers that with my answer. Here, x is equal to negative 5. And that's how we solve linear equations. Let's now have another set of examples. Let's consider the following. So here, if you try to look at it, the only difficult and challenging part here is the involvement of fractions. And most students are quite having difficulties with fractions. So to simplify fractions in equations, to eliminate it, all you have to do is to find the LCD of all the fractions in the equation and multiply the LCD to both sides of the equation or to the entire equation. So the only thing here is find the LCD of all the fractions in the equation and multiply it to the entire equation. So for the first one, since we only have one fraction here, we have one LCD here, we have one denominator here, automatic the LCD is 3. For the second one, we have here two denominators, 4 and 2. So the LCD of 4 and 2 is 4. So multiply 4 to both sides to the entire equation. In the third one, we have three denominators, 2, 3, and 6. The LCD is 6. So multiply again the LCD to the entire equation. Now, here is what happens when we multiply the LCDs. Sorry, I think this one is a mistake. So this is actually 3 and this is also 3. Alright, so for the first one, it now becomes 3 times x plus 5 over 3 equal to 3 times negative 1. For the second one, it becomes 4 times 3x over 4 equal to 4 times 3 halves. Take note, this LCD should be multiplied to both sides. That's why we have this. Alright. For the third one, in the first side, we have two terms, so we multiply 6 to each term, and then to the last, and to the other side as well. So we'll have this one. Okay, now this is what happens when we multiply them by the LCD. So for the first one, we can actually cancel this already. So thus, we would get, this would be wrong already. So please don't look at this answer. This will be wrong. So instead, for the first one, this now becomes x plus 5. So we now have cancelled out the 3. 3 over 3 is 1. So we have x plus 5 remaining equal to negative 3. Alright. So further solving this, isolating the x is now equal to negative 3 minus 5. Or x is equal to negative 8. So this is now the value of x in the first equation. So see, after we multiply the LCD to both, we have eliminated the denominator, thus leaving us with an equation without fractions already. That is why whenever you see fractions, always find the LCD and multiply the entire equation by that LCD. For the second one, here we can cancel out the 4. Alright. And also here we can either multiply the 4 by the 3 or we can cancel out the 4 and the 2. We can divide them ahead of time. Okay. Thus we will get 3x is equal to 2. This becomes 4 divided by 2 is 2. 2 times 3. See, we are now having an expression or an equation without fractions anymore. By the way, for the first one, 4 divided by 4 is 1, right? So 1 times 3x equal to 2 times 3. This 2 is coming from 4 divided by 2. So simplifying it further, we have 3x is equal to 6. Thus, x is equal to 2. Okay? And lastly, for the third one, so 6 divided by 2, we can cancel it out. We could cancel this out as well and this as well. So this will now be 3 times x. See, 6 over 2 is 3 times x minus 6 over 3 is 2 times 2x equal to 6 over 6 is 1 times 5. Okay, simplifying it further, we have 3x minus 4x is equal to 5. 3x minus 4x is equal to negative x, thus is equal to positive 5. Therefore, x is negative 5. And that's how to solve linear equations whenever you see fractions involved. Same thing, I'd like you to pause this video and answer each one by one. Then check your answers once you are done. Alright, pause this video now. This time, check if all your answers are correct. Take note, before you watch this, you have to answer everything first. Alright? Okay, and these are the answers to all three. This time, let's now proceed to last three examples. So for the last three examples, you will see here parentheses. Now, the lesson in the first term, which involves distribution. If you recall, multiplying a monomial with a binomial will be used here. So for the first one, we can just simply distribute the 4 to all the terms in the parentheses. That is the same with the second one also. That's the only skill here. So if we do that for the first one, this now becomes 4x minus 4 minus 2x is equal to 2. So next, we can just simplify 4x and minus 2x, giving you 2x. 4x minus 2x is 2x, minus 4 equal to 2. This time, it's now a simple equation, so you can now apply the ones we had previously. Isolate the 2x, you will get 2 plus 4, therefore x is equal to 3. For the second one, we need to be careful with this. Why? In the first term, it's okay because this is positive. So 3 times 5x, 3 times negative 2 will give you 15x minus 6. However, for the second one, take note this is minus 2. So what we are to distribute to 3x and minus 4 is not positive 2, but rather negative 2. So negative 2 times 3x is negative 6x. Negative 2 times negative 4 is positive 8. You have to be careful with this. If you are not able to get that, please replay or please go back to a few minutes or a few seconds when I was discussing this. Again, take note, it's the negative 2 that we are distributing, equal to 2. This time, combine like terms, 15x minus 6x. That gives us 9x, negative 6 plus 8, that gives us positive 2 equal to 2. From here onwards, we can now solve it as a simple equation. Therefore, x is equal to 0. Now for the third one, it involves fractions. Remember again, when you see fractions, how to simplify this again? Find the LCD, multiply the LCD to both sides. So for 4 and 3, the LCD is 12. So multiply 12 to both sides, thus you will get 12 times 5x plus 2 over 4 equal to 12 times 2x minus 1 over 3. So we can actually simplify 12 and 4 and 12 and 3. Thus, 12 divided by 4 is 3. 12 divided by 3 is 4. So we can simplify this further as 3 times 5x plus 2 and 4 times 2x minus 1. Again, we got this 3 because 12 divided by 4 is 3. We got this 4 because 12 divided by 3 is 4. So here onwards, we are now having the same skill similar to that in the left. So distribute. So we now have 15x plus 6. Here we got 8x minus 4. So apply how to solve for the x. So here, since we have x in both sides, you can either transfer 15x to the other side, meaning you can either isolate the x to the right side, put everything, all the x to the right side, or you can put all the x to the left side. It's all up to you. However, please think, if I transfer 15x to the other side, this becomes 8x minus 15x. 8 minus 15 is negative 7, and we don't want to see a negative 7 with the x. So the best way, I'm not saying that it's wrong to do that, no, but the best way is to find a place by which when we combine the x, it remains positive. And the best way, the best strategy is to put all the x's at the left side so that 15x and 8x combined, when you transfer 8x to the other side, it becomes minus 8x. When you combine 15x with negative 8x, it gives you a positive 7x, something that is easy to operate. So this becomes 15x minus 8x equal to negative 4 is left on the right side, thus it remains negative 4. But 6 is transferred, so it becomes minus 6. Simplifying it further, we now have 7x equal to negative 10. And to solve for the x, we need to divide both sides by 7. Thus, you got x equal to negative 10 over 7. The negative should be aligned with the fraction bar because this negative is for the entire fraction, 10 over 7. Or, instead of writing it as an improper, I would like you to write it as a mixed number. So it's easy to analyze later in the word problems. So this is now negative 1, 3 over 7. So the value of x is negative 1 and 3 over 7. Let's practice further. Pause this video and answer all 3 equations. Then once you are done, check your work. Take note, you have to answer all 3 first before you check the answers. At this point, I'm not expecting you that you're done with your answers. Please check your works given these answers. All right? And that's it for this particular lesson. So this will be done on Tuesday. I mean, like even on even Monday evening, I'd like you to start answering either red or yellow level. But then on Tuesday, make sure to finish up until green level. Thank you so much, everyone, and that's it for part 2.